I'm going to tell you for Kvetch's birthday a cautionary tale about fiber. And and I'm going to get a 2-minute warning as if I'm in an Al-Anon meeting. It'll be really good. So this story takes place in 2006 in Columbia, Missouri, which I have a map I'll show you afterwards. And this is a state school college town, and it's the weekend before Christmas, so the whole town is cleared out. It's totally empty. And I work at the university at the time, and so all the students are gone, everything's really empty, and I'm planning on spending my Christmas holiday like refinishing my hardwood floors of the house that I just moved into. And it's also going to be my first Christmas as a single person, and I'm almost done with my Jewish conversion. So that's the backstory, okay? But little did I know, I would find out after the story takes place, that my rabbi, Yossi Feintuch, was actually homophobic, and he had no intention of finishing my conversion, right? So, okay, so it's like Friday night, the weekend before Christmas, and wait till you see where this ends up. It's so far away from my Jewish conversion, but so it's Friday night, and I'm still thinking I'm going to finish my conversion, so I like to be on time for Shabbat, because I'm the only person over 18 and under 80 who goes, and so I feel really awkward whenever I show up to the congregation, so I never like to be late, because it's in this old creaky house, and when you walk in while it's happening, it's just like creak, creak with every step. And so before I go, I have to poop, you know? So I'm like on the toilet, I was like, oh, I can't be late for Shabbat, oh God. And so I push hard, really hard. And I knew something happened, but because I was just sitting on the toilet and it felt like I wasn't done, you know, for like a really long time. This is going to be shocking to some of you and shockingly familiar to many of you. Because it's a room of homosexuals and ne'er-do-wells who do terrible things with their butts. And so I drive to Shabbat, and I just notice I feel uncomfortable, like there's a piece of wood in my underwear or something, you know? And I sit through the Friday night services, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm such a good Jew, I'm going to finish my conversion, finish my hardwood floors, what a great Christmas season. And by the next day, by Saturday morning, my ass is burning, and it just like hurts really bad all weekend, but I didn't want to look at it, you know, because I was still like, I just didn't want to know. I just wanted to be in denial about whatever was going on. And so by Sunday night, I was like in a lot of pain. So I went to Hy-Vee, the grocery store of the Midwest, and I bought like every hemorrhoid thing that they had on the shelf. And I just went home, like turned off the lights and like slathered myself with it. Monday morning, I was still in a lot of pain. And I worked in a women's center, so it was just me and the director, who's this lovely woman who was like my mother. So Monday morning, I arrange a sweater like in a circle on my chair, and I sit on it, like make a fake donut out of it. And like by lunchtime, I just can't stand it anymore. Like I can't actually sit at my desk, you know. So I go to my boss's door and I knock, and I was like, Laura, can I talk to you? And I go in and I shut the door and I don't sit down. And she's like, yeah, what's going on? I said, I think I have a hemorrhoid. And her face got totally serious. She's just like, oh God. And she pulls me close and she's like, you know, I've had hemorrhoids. And I was like, really? What should I do? She's like, you have to take care of it. It's just going to get worse. Do you want to go to the doctor? I was like, yeah, maybe I need to go to the doctor. It hurts really bad. I can't sit down. I hadn't eaten anything in like 2 days because I didn't want to sit down on the toilet. Like even to pee was like an exercise in torture, right? So she's like, I think you need to see the doctor. So that afternoon, I call a general practitioner. They make me an appointment for Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, I go in, and I'm thinking they're going to like give me a pill or something to like shrink the thing. I have no idea what they're going to do. And so the doctor comes in. First time I ever met her, Dr. Carol Stilney, God bless her. So she comes in and she says, okay, well, I need to take a look at it. So I have to drop trowel, you know, and like lay on the table. It's just like so, everything's so like hideously, I just feel like awful about myself, you know. I just want to put a paper bag over my head. She like lifts my ass apart and she goes, oh, it's thrombosis, which I didn't know what that was yet until I Googled it later. Basically means there's like a giant purple balloon hanging out of my ass.
No!
Yeah. So she says, I'm gonna cut it open and take all of the blood clots out right now. So she goes and gets like some instruments, comes back in and slices open the hemorrhoid and pulls out all of the... This is why I told you not to serve the cake before I told my story. She pulls out like blood clot after blood clot after blood clot, right? And I'm just like in so much pain, and I'm just like, oh God, never gonna sit down again. And so she takes like 9 feet of gauze and wraps it and shoves it up my ass. She's like, okay, you're gonna be in a lot of pain today. So what you need to do is just drink a lot of water, take some ibuprofen, and just lay down. If you're still bleeding by Thursday, you need to come back in. This is Tuesday morning. So I go home and I lay face down on my bed. And I'm just laying there, and I'm in so much pain. Again, I just don't want to eat or drink anything because I don't want to sit on the toilet because it hurts. The gravity just hurts so bad. Sure enough, the thrombosis purple balloon like blows back up, fills back up with blood clots. I'm in so much pain by Wednesday morning, I can't even walk. It's like there's like a block, like a cinder block up my ass. And so Wednesday, I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't deal with this. I'm still bleeding heavily. Call the doctor. She's like, come back in. And so I go back in, and she takes a look, and she's like, oh, yes, it's filled back up. You're going to need to see a surgeon. So she says, I'm going to call a surgeon, see if I can get you in today. And I said, okay. So I call my friend, who the only friend who hasn't left town for Christmas, and she agrees to like come with me to the surgeon's office so that they can deal with this, right? So she drives me to the surgeon, and I put on like, you know, easy pull-on pants. I still have 9 feet of gauze at my ass, so it's like I have like a huge diaper on going to the surgeon. Dr. Pitt was his name, and I wondered if he was related to Brad Pitt, who's also from Missouri. And it's a small town. It's a state full of small towns. So we go into Dr. Pitt, and he talks to me with his nurse in his office, and he's like, you must be in a lot of pain. And every time somebody says that to me, I just start crying, because I'm in so much pain. It's like so validating, and it's so shameful what's happening. So when someone is just like, yeah, that hurts really bad, I'm just like, yeah, it hurts a lot. I haven't eaten in 4 days. And so he says, what we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to saw it off with a scalpel, because it's just going to keep filling back up, right? Right. So I was like, okay, it's gonna hurt, right? He says, well, first what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a needle and we're gonna put some anesthetic in your ass, like right in your anus, get it all numbed, and then we're gonna cut it off, okay? Okay. And so they lean me over to the table, pull down my pants, and I'm like leaning over the table like this, and then they bring the table up. I'm like, my legs are dangling. And then the nurse is like, oh, doctor, her face is white. And they're like, have you eaten breakfast? I was like, no, I haven't eaten anything. Okay. They're like, okay, so they bring the table back down. And they pull me up, and he's like, we're going to give you a Coke so that you don't pass out. And they walk me over to a chair and sit me down. It's Missouri, so they bring me, and I drink a Coke so that my blood sugar comes back up. And then when the color came back to my face, they're like, okay, let's try it again. Walk me back to the table, pull my pants down, put me over the table goes up, my little feet are dangling, there's like a sad paper blanket over my shoulders. So they take a needle and 5 shots up my anus, right in my anus with like an anesthetic, right? I thought I can get through anything after that, right? Because there's nothing worse than I mean, so maybe some people are like really into that, right? You don't want a needle in your anus. I was not into it. It hurt a great deal. So they numb my anus. And it's like, you know when you have a dentist work done and they numb your mouth, but you can still feel tugging and stuff? Yeah. So my asshole is numb, but I can feel them tugging. So they have to grab onto the hemorrhoid and they kind of saw it off. And then the doctor says, you know, I'm going to make sure you don't have any internal hemorrhoids. And so he goes up my ass, and sure enough, I had an internal hemorrhoid too. And he said it's slippery like a grape, so I'm having a hard time catching it. So I can feel it like missing it, right? It's like this like slippery grape up my ass keeps moving around. Finally, he saws it off. Yeah. Takes 9 feet of gauze, winds it up, shoves it up my ass, and he says, I'm going to write you a prescription for a very powerful sedative because you're going to be in an extraordinary amount of pain for the next few days. Merry Christmas! And so they bring me down. He gives me a paper bag full of fiber and tells me about the benefits of fiber. He's like, you have to increase your fiber intake. You can't ever push. You can't sit on the toilet. If you're not going, you have to get off the toilet. And you have to start drinking a lot of water. And I've already been recording I had a shit diary for like 4 years, which is a different story entirely. But I'd already been tracking my bowel movements up to this point. And they weren't good. So they send me home with the sedative, and they give me this paper bag full of, you know, every kind of fiber supplement possible. And then the doctor leaves and the nurse says, do you want to see the hemorrhoid? And some of you know I started the San Francisco Food Adventure Club. So I, of course, said yes, I want to see it. And so she brings it over to me, and it looked like gummy candy. And my impulse was to swallow it, you know? Like, I just wanted to eat it so bad. I felt like such an animal. Like, this thing had come from me. I didn't want it to be taken from me. But I didn't eat it.
Good.
They sent me home. And for the next 5 days, I would just pass out, face down, you know, and taking sedatives, sleeping all the time, painkillers, because I was in so much pain. Every time I had to go to the bathroom, it was if a lava rock was going past an open wound, which is essentially what was happening up my ass, because I had an open wound inside and outside. And the shit was so rocky, because I hadn't eaten or drank anything in days before this. And I realize that I'm about out of time, but what I want to tell you is, there's a part 2 that I'm not going to get to tell you. That's a very disturbing part 2, called Hemi takes a bite out of the Big Apple. Don't be afraid to drink the batch. And I want you all to remember, you have to drink a lot of water. You have to have a lot of fiber in your diet, a lot. It has to be varied fiber. And if you're not going to the bathroom, you cannot sit on the toilet. You have to get off the toilet. Thank you.